Okay, here we go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to BWTM Sports Gaming. So, in a previous video our last video we did on boxing. It was the title was where's the next UK pay-per-view superstar coming from? And in that our debate and discussion with boxing fans from around the world, this young man came to my attention by one of the viewers, and they said, "Tell me what you think of Gerard Big Baby Anderson." I'd never heard of him before. So I said, all right, you know what? May as well have a look at him. So this video is for you, sir. Before I begin, no video that I do is based on slating a fighter or making a fighter feel less than or trying to be clever or smart. All it is an opinion, my own personal opinion, based on the little things I know about boxing and what I've observed. So, without further ado, let's get into this, gentleman. For people who don't know who Gerard, I hope I pronounced his name, Gerard Anderson is, well, he's an US heavyweight. But we're going to go to BoxRec just for the facts as to who he is. But even BoxRec sometimes can give you some inaccurate information. So, he's 4-0 with 4 KOs. He started his career 2009 to 2020. His name is Gerard Dovan Anderson. Well, Anderson's my middle name, so hey, that's cool. So he's known as Big Baby. But of course, we know there's another heavyweight, bit more established, called Big Baby Miller. That's not to say you can't have somebody else's middle name or nickname. So when people see Big Baby Miller, they will also tag it with this guy as well. So it's nice. Their styles are different. So he's from the USA. He was born on the 16th of November 1999. So that makes him 20 years old. USA debuted on the 10th. So that'll be October the 26th, 2019. He's a heavyweight. He's orthodox. These are the stats. He's 6'4" with a 78 and a half reach, or 78 and a half inch reach. In height, that would be 193 centimeters. He's from Toledo. He's from Ohio, USA. Okay, doesn't know. I don't think he's registered as a manager or as a promoter. And in the world, he's rated 82 out of 1,324, and in the America, he's rated 19 out of 346 American heavyweights. Interesting. I won't look too much into the stats of BoxRec because BoxRec at one point had Jeff Horn rated higher than most established fighters. So we'll go through the facts of his boxing career so far. So on his professional debut, he fought a guy called Daniel Infant. He had a 1-2 record, 1-1, lost 2. Then he fought Stephen Kernon, 1-2, lost 2, drawn 1. Then he fought Andrew Satterfield, 1-3, lost 1-5, lost 3, drawn none. And the last fight he had was Johnny Langston, 8-2-0. That was the fight that I went to look at, and it was actually a step up fight for the young man from Ohio. It was a step up fight for him. So it was a step up fight for the young man. So this was going to give him a bit more resistance. A guy was going to throw some punches back in Johnny Langston. I'm going to look a little bit at Johnny Langston's record. Didn't know much about Johnny Langston. He's ranked number 42 in American heavyweights, 171 in the world. He's a southpaw from Florida. Just look and see if there's anybody's name there that I recognize on his record. Nope. He's got a lot of fights where he's gone unanimous decisions. That was the first time he's actually been stopped. He was fought a guy called Ronnie Hines. We'll look at him quickly. He's unbeaten. Fought Ronnie Hines. Ronnie Hines 8-0. Just keep a look at him. He's 164, ranked 39. He's active. He's 6 foot. So he's fought similar guys to Big Baby Anderson, and he has got some knockout records behind him. Got a couple of unanimous decisions as well. Interesting. Just trying to look at the lines there, but Ronnie Hines is another one we'll have to look at for 7-0. One of the guys he fought on his record, he got a unanimous decision. This is Gerard Anderson's opponent. Last fought, he fought a guy called Grover Young, who won 13 and lost 27. Two fights before that, he fought Tyrrell Jamal Woods, who'd won 19 and lost 44. And then a fight before that, he fought a guy called Brad Austin, 13 wins with 29 losses. So, I guess his opponent had his own fair share of what you call knockover jobs. Hade Speak says he could at least made up his own nickname instead of using Fat Boy Miller. Well, he could have done, but I guess it's a nice tagline, isn't it? Big Baby. Yes, Ruben, good to see you. Hamza, good to see you in the room. Yes. So that's so far. Those are the facts. This is my assessment of Gerald Anderson. Yeah, he's young. The first thing I picked up about him, wants to get on with business, wants to throw punches, wants to get his opponent out of there. He's got a knockout ratio in his career, so he wants to get guys out quickly. One thing I noticed about him is that I always look at boxers, particularly in the heavyweight division, at their defense. Not so much their offense, is their defense. Because in the heavyweight division, unlike any division, one punch and you could be out of there. One punch. So you're playing, you're in a minefield, and any move you make could be tick on a time bomb on boom. So you have to be so careful. And the first thing I picked up about Gerard Anderson from the first round, that he was vulnerable to the left hook. And the other thing about him, he seemed to rush in with his punches. Didn't seem to be able to distance and timing. It was just rushing and throwing punches, as opposed to picking the shots and taking your time. Some good points. I did see him put some nice combinations. I saw him working from body to head. That was good. And the shots he did pick were quite nice. That sounds quite contradictory. But what I'm trying to say is the distance. At times he's picking the shots. He's picking the right shots, but not having the right distance. So he's picking a good shot to pick, but leaving himself in a position to get caught. So you're playing the percentage game. This game of boxing is to hit and not get hit. And I don't like seeing prospects very early in their career getting hit with unnecessary punches. And not only not getting hit with unnecessary punches, but getting hit repeatedly with the same punches. Okay? And that was in the first round. This fight went 3 rounds, I believe. Let me go back and check. Make sure I got my facts correct now. Could have been watching a different fight. I think it was a 3-round fight. Doesn't say in the box rec here. I believe the fight went 3 rounds. Okay. From what I saw in the fight, as the fight was going on, his opponent, Johnny Langston, not only was hitting him with a left hook, but he started catching him with the right hand. There were times where Like Anderson didn't judge the distance correctly, and he was actually getting punched. Was getting caught with punches as he was landing his own at mid range. So I'm a little concerned about that from him. Distance, timing, and putting yourself in a danger. There's a danger zone that Gerard Anderson or Big Baby wasn't aware of. Whether he's not aware of it because of his training and his management team and how they guide his career, but he needs to get a very 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 quick awakening, and that would be because this guy Langston was not a puncher. He was not a puncher, and the punches that Anderson was taking, if he had been half a decent puncher, I'd have been concerned. The other concern about Gerard Anderson is he's only 20 years old. It tells you how phenomenal Mike Tyson was. Because Mike Tyson had some real power on him back in the day. I know that there was some talk of Mike Tyson being on some substances and steroids when he was younger. I don't know how true all that is. I know Mike came out and said some stuff later on in his career. I know he said some stuff, outrageous stuff sometimes. Mike does. But this guy's 20 years old, and it's quite evident he's not a one-punch knockout artist as he's stepped up now. That also could be the fact that he's only 20 years old. Bodies mature differently, but Mike Tyson, you knew he was a puncher. When he hit you, boom, you knew he was a puncher. This guy here seems to have a cumulative effect. A cumulative effect means he hits you 1, 2, 3, 4 punches, he stuns you and he gets you out of there, as opposed to like a Wilder hits you one shot, boom, and takes you out of there. So I'm a little concerned. They'll have to guide this man very carefully. My advice to Gerard Anderson at this moment in time, I mean, guys like Canelo, they fought when they were much younger, is to stay away from any big punches, which I think they're going to do. Keep him away from big punches. If there are any big punches he does work with, he does it in the gym. And I also would recommend he work on distance, when to throw punches and when not to throw punches. If you're going to throw a good shot, make sure in a position where you could throw a punch and not be hit yourself. He's not defensively responsible, and that could be because he's trying to put on a show. But even so, why would you want to? You're on TV. That's sure. That's fine. But try to put a show on and leaving yourself vulnerable to left hooks and right hands against a guy in Johnny Langston who really is not a world beater and will never be considered a world beater. And you're getting hit with shots like that, and not just one shot, you're getting hit with multiple punches and not making the adjustments is a concern. So that, for me, is he's young, he's hungry, he wants to make an impression. He does work the body and head very well. He did pick some nice shots in there, but again, distance, space, timing, footwork, getting yourself in and out of range, and the jab. The jab to me was just put out there. It wasn't a ramrod jab. It wasn't an authoritative jab. It was just put out there so he could put the big punches together. So he needs to tighten up the defense for me, because you see this stuff here is when this is when I make an assessment of a fighter, and I'm saying here, if he doesn't tighten his defense when he moves up against guys who can punch or have come with a little bit more ambition to fight, Anderson is going to find himself a cropper, because he doesn't punch that hard at the moment to be taking the sort of chances he was taking against a guy who, it seemed to me, ran out of steam. He ran out of steam, and he did test Big Baby in a way I didn't like. I don't like seeing prospects getting hit with so many punches by a guy that he shouldn't be getting hit. See, there's a difference between getting hit with punches because the opponent is A, good enough, skilled enough, and is working his way past your defense and hitting you with a good shot and earning a good shot. That's that, as opposed to you putting yourself in line to get hit with punches because you are defensively irresponsible. There is a difference. Against an opponent, you should not be given that opportunity to. You put yourself in a position of danger against somebody you shouldn't be doing it against. And whilst you may say on the hand outside the ring watching and saying, you know what, it's an opponent that can't punch, maybe he's testing himself. No. The best way to test yourself is not to get hit. The aim of boxing and the whole idea of boxing is to hit and not get hit. So, and there are going to be fights you're going to have where you can't get the guy out there in the first round or the second round. Then you start to get frustrated. Then you start to leave yourself open. Then you leave counter up. He was open for a good counter puncher. A good counter puncher. You know what? When Gerard Anderson was fighting, what he reminded me of? Go back and watch Harold Graham. And this is an elite fighter now, making a basic criminal error where you throw the same punch repeatedly to a guy backed up against the ropes. You leave yourself open to the left hook. This is the sort of punch that Gerard Anderson is going to walk onto, a big left hook. Go and look at the way Harold Graham's got his chin stuck up in the air and he's throwing punches when he's got his guy back against the ropes. He throws 1-2 and he goes for the 1-2 again, and he's about to throw the second punch. He gets clipped with the left hook over the top. Defensively irresponsible. This is what I'm talking about right here with Gerard Anderson. You can't. People say, "Oh, as he moves up in class, he's going to get better." No, he's moved up in class, and this is what's happened to him. God forbid he was fighting a guy like a Burt, like for example, a Burt Cooper. Ask yourself the question, and I'm going to use Dave Allen as a good example here. Putting Dave Allen in the ring with Gerard Anderson. So, and Allen would be limited because of the amount of punches he throws, but he's strong, he's tough, he's durable, and he can throw punches back, and he's got an element of ambition about him. Would you be confident in putting Gerard Anderson in the ring with Dave Allen today? I wouldn't. I certainly wouldn't. Do you understand what I'm saying? He's 20 years old. So the young man, if he listens and he pays attention, I mean, you say different levels, but what level is Dave Allen? You're talking different levels. What level is Dave Allen? Does somebody tell me what level Dave Allen is? What level is Dave Allen? Is he British level? Is he European level? Is he Commonwealth level? Is he British level? 82 in the world on box rec, higher than Otto Walling. Well, it could be who's promoting you. Do you understand? So I will say this: domestic level. Okay. So what level is Anderson? Is he not domestic? Is he not domestic? So my point is proven there. So you've got a domestic guy, all right? Allen may have more experience in fighting at top level. Yeah, Allen's got more. So what I'm saying to you is, listen to my point. Would you stick Gerard Anderson now in the ring with Dave Allen, a guy who's won no belts and has been found? He got beat by Leroy Thomas. Let me ask you a question. Would you put Leroy Thomas in the ring with Anderson tomorrow? Leroy Thomas, sorry. Would you put Leroy Thomas in the ring with Big Baby Anderson? People love to come on here and argue with me, right? And I don't know why they love to argue with me. Well, I'm making some basic points here. This guy is okay, but he lacks defensive. He lacks defensive awareness. So he will put himself in positions that a more experienced fighter wouldn't do, a more skilled fighter wouldn't do. And then we have to look at Gerard Anderson's amateur background, which gives us more of a clue as to what's going on here. They're on different paths. Why are they on different paths? Why are they on different paths? Why are they on different paths? If he picks up a title, you know, and he's at top rank, I understand he's a top rank fighter. He's in top rank. You say he's on different paths. But I don't know what path is Dave Allen on. What path is Dave Allen on? Can you explain to me what path Dave Allen's on? He's not on a world title path. He's not on a European title path. He's not on a British title path. So what path is Dave Allen on? So I'm asking a question. You have such a high level of Dave Allen. I'm giving an example. I mean, forget Dave Allen. Let's try somebody else in the heavyweight division. Vlad Tsarenko. Let's put Vlad Tsarenko in there. Retirement path. LOL. Let's put Vlad Tsarenko in with Big Baby Miller, Big Baby Anderson. Again, I wouldn't dare put Vlad Tsarenko in the ring with Big Baby Anderson. Vlad Tsarenko will rip his head off. No, I'm not talking about finances there. Please stick on point. I'm talking to you about styles and levels. Listen to me. And this Dave Allen, durability, experienced, but what level is he at? So this is Dave Allen would be a good example of where is he, or where is Gerard Anderson. There's a good measuring stick. Do you understand? Because hello, how are we doing? So have a look at Gerard Anderson. Anyway, my point is Gerard Anderson. To me, I'm not convincing the young man. I think maybe with time, if he doesn't get beat, he'll have to be managed very carefully. He has to tuck his chin in. Nah, Hughie's far more skilled than this guy. Far more skilled than Anderson. Far more skilled. Throws better jab. He's just a more experienced fighter. And he's got the and are you serious? Gerard versus Ngannou. Are you serious? You're being funny now. You're being facetious. We're talking boxing here, man. Please, when you're talking, show some boxing sense, man. Talk some boxing. I'm talking serious boxing here, and you talking about stuff that really not going to happen. If he was to fight something like Ngannou, he'd get himself knocked out. I think he'd get knocked out. Yeah, to me, I just don't think. I think this young man, from what I look at it, I think this young man, if I was an advisor, I would say to him, work on your technique, your defense, son. Work on your footwork, getting you in and out of danger. Don't keep coming in straight lines. You use lateral move, go from side to side. You do know how to move from body to head. You throw good punches from body to head. I like that. Don't be so in a rush to take a guy out of there to impress the fans or to impress TV. You will get the knockout. Take your time. Work your jab. Work your jab. That jab is key. It will unlock many doors for you. Use the jab. Double and triple up your jab. And when you throw the jab, throw it with authority. Don't just throw it at the target. Throw it through the target. Push his guy's back, head back. Snap his head right back with a jab. And then throw it straight through the right hand and come back with a left hook. I would encourage Gerard Anderson to really work on his jab, to work and set up openings for him. He has a decent jab, but he doesn't utilize it enough. Double and triple the jab, stuff that he probably would have learned in the amateurs that he's not doing now. That being said, David Price was a long-standing amateur, and up to today, he doesn't know how to throw the jab in a way that would be more beneficial for him. At 6'4", it's a good height. 6'4" is a good height. He's a good weight. And he's going to get stronger. He's only 20 years old, all right? I'm not saying this guy can't one day become a world champion, but if he is going to become a world champion, there are some fundamentals he needs to work on right now. And don't wait until he gets into a position where he fights a guy who can counter punch him, who can fight a guy who's a bit tasty and can punch, to work on the night to find out, I should have worked on my counter punching ability. I should have worked on my defensive ability. I should have worked on my footwork. These are things that a young fighter needs to pay attention to. So if I were him, I'd go back to the table and say, look, I'm getting hit with too many punches here. Did some good work out, worked the body and head very nicely there. I was a bit ambitious, bit hungry to try and get the fight done and get him out there quickly, because I forget knockouts will come. You're not going to knock everybody out in the first round throughout your career. When you get the knockout, great. So yeah, but even Gerald Washington is dangerous, and only because this guy Gerald Anderson will walk onto shots, which makes it a dangerous fight. He'll walk onto shots. You know, so for me, I'll tell you a fight. Him versus Daniel Dubois. I would pick Daniel Dubois to knock out Gerald Anderson. Dubois would knock out Gerald Anderson because he's open to the right hand. He doesn't pay attention to defense. He's open for a big right hand. So Dubois would be a good fight for him. Joe Joyce would be a good fight. Joe Joyce, Dubois, those guys would beat him. Sorenko would beat him. Who else? I too would be an interesting fight for Gerald Anderson if he can really box. Gassiev. I don't think he'd beat Gassiev. Gassiev will tuck up, wait, and land his own bombs. I think Gassiev would be a problem for him. I'd like to know how he would do against Sam Sexton. How does he do against Sam Sexton? I'm just trying to find out what people think. How would he do against Sam Sexton? So I also know he was a sparring partner for Tyson Fury. That's great. That's nice. But as you said, he didn't have much of an amateur background, and I think he was a pro footballer. So that's what I'm saying to you. So the gentleman that wanted me to do a review of this gentleman here, Gerard Big Baby Anderson, my opinion is that he's got 4 knockouts. That's nice. He stepped up in his last fight and he got hit with more punches than he should be getting hit with. He needs to be at that level or just a little higher. And he needs to be sparring with guys who are punchers for him to understand. You know, for me, I would get him also the old. You put the newspaper under the gentleman's under Anderson's elbow, just tuck his hands in and get him to tuck that chin down. Nick Webb, yeah, Nick Webb. You know what? Even Josh Sandelin versus this guy, Big Baby. That'd be good. I'd put Josh Sandelin with him. I'd put Josh Sandelin with him. I wouldn't think twice about it because he'll leave himself open. And Josh has got a great engine. He's got a good chin. He's got a great engine in him. I think that would be a good fight, especially. And Josh has got a left hook as well. Josh Sandelin versus this guy. I'd put him in, and I wouldn't think twice about it. You got to think about experience. This guy hasn't done 12 rounds. This guy hasn't done 10 rounds. You think he beat Sexton? Yeah? If this fight goes past 5-6 rounds, I don't know if this guy will still be this Big Baby Anderson will still be around. This guy's not been tested. So you say he would beat Sexton. I'm not sure what you're basing that opinion on. Cash Ali, yeah. I stick him with Cash Ali as well. I would have no problems putting Sam Sexton in with him, Cash Ali with him, Dave Allen in with him. I have no problem putting any of those guys in with him. And I think that level of that those guys would beat him. Josh Sandlin, I think all those guys would beat Gerald Anderson because he will walk onto their punches. He'll walk into their punches. I think, and it will give opportunities for them to work body and head. He, don't get me wrong, he has got some good things about him. He throws punches with decent speed. He puts punches together nicely. But again, when he's putting those punches together, he gives you opportunities to counter him. So, yeah, I like all of those guys. Even Cash Ali, I like. But let me know what you think about Jared Anderson. And Jared Anderson yourself, if you think I've been a bit harsh, then please leave a comment in the comment section. Love to get an interview with you, find a bit more about your career and stuff, who your trainer is and stuff. So again, this is not a dig at you. And who am I to say you won't become heavyweight champion of the world? I mean, you're at that prospect stage at the moment. You haven't got no real amateur background to speak of. But, you know, some guys do very well in the pros who haven't had an amateur background. So, and there are guys who had great amateur backgrounds, won Olympic gold medals, but never won a world title. So, I just think that the amateur background does help, and it allows you to see different styles, different types of opponents, and you're not really learning on the job as such because you've done your learning on the job in the amateur ranks. So in the pro game, you're kind of using what you've learned from the amateur ranks and building on those experiences. So good luck to Gerard Anderson. All the very best to him. The more heavyweights from the USA that can do the business, it's fine. Because of course, the more heavyweights out there that are skilled, the better boxing experiences that we have, and the more rivalries we can have between UK and US. How is he so hyped in States? His amateur career doesn't stand that much. Well, you see, this is where you have missed the trick. If you look in the background of this picture, you'll see the big words "top rank." Why is it someone like Ray Robinson doesn't get the accolades for a guy who's highly skilled and did a better job on the green machine compared to what Terence Crawford did? It's because he hasn't got a big promoter behind him. Just because if someone has got a big promoter behind him, then they've got the money to pay a person to get into the ranks and move up the governing bodies quickly. Do you understand? That's when you've got big money on big power. That's the only reason why you sign to a promoter. That's the benefit of signing to a promoter, a well-known promoter. He signed to Bob Arum, top rank. That's why. There's your answer right there. Because if he was signed to Joe Bloggs, he wouldn't be in the rankings the way he is. He's got no amateur pedigree to talk about. So that's where the double standards come in boxing. So that's it. I wish Gerard Anderson all the best. As with always with BWTM Sports Gaming, we do talk to guys before they make it to the big time. So if any channel there is going to be following up on him, it will be ourselves. So again, all the best to Gerard Anderson in his career. And I'm sure as long as he does the hard work in the gym, is honest with himself, open with himself, and is willing to listen and learn and to be critical to the point where he can make the adjustments, but not to be too hard on himself, and can make the adjustments. And he's a young lad, you know, I'm sure he can go places in his career. But for now, he'll have to be very careful who they put him in with, because he's not that big a puncher, one, and two, he has some fundamental technical issues that he needs to deal with. Okay, that's it. My review of Gerard Anderson. Hope you've liked it, you enjoyed it. I'll be back soon. I think today I might just do a Hrgovic video because so much talk about this Hrgovic guy. I've got to examine him myself and have a look at him. Right, I'm out of here. Take care.